A few days ago, the director of the Birmingham Business School in the UK said this: electric cars are a must. I thought the Jaguar XJ was very impressive, but Balaw, the previous CEO, cancelled that and wasted a huge amount of money. And now Jaguar Land Rover are lagging behind, way behind, on electrification. The electric Jaguar I-Pace is a cracking car, but so far it's a one-off. It's a compliance car, and Jaguar Land Rover didn't use the platform or the engineering for anything else at all, he said. The electrification strategy has been botched, and it is now lagging badly. Jaguar Land Rover will have to look for partners. That looks increasingly like BMW. Well, good luck with that. BMW is having a hard enough time themselves. Forbes says that Jaguar Land Rover is in dire straits and needs much bigger sales and a massive electrification budget to compete against Europe's premium auto market leaders, or even Tesla as well for that matter, plus BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. Given that neither a budget of any significant amount or the ability to compete is likely, the sooner it picks a partner to actually make its cars for it or just allows a takeover to happen, the better. That might be the only thing keeping this company from simply being another footnote in history. Jaguar Land Rover, they are a brand that are pretty much on the deathbeds, right? They're basically headed out to the mortuary. It's almost at that point. Now, the funny thing is, or the sad thing is about this whole story, is that Jaguar actually had something that everyone thought at the time was amazing. It wasn't long ago that the Jaguar I-Pace won Electric Car of the Year. World Car of the Year is a pretty big deal. They could have used this as a springboard to become an electric car brand, or at least to become a relevant car brand. Instead, Jaguar and Land Rover just pretended it was a niche product. It was a compliance model. They did nothing to change it for years, and now the brand is in dire straits. It's fired its CEO, it's appointing a new one, it's hoping he can pull off some kind of miracle. At this point, that is extremely unlikely. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel, great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Sam Evans and I'm coming to you from Bangkok in Thailand. Soon I will actually be moving. Not quite back to Australia yet, unfortunately, but I'll let you know where we're going very soon. If you're new to the channel, we're here because my wife is undergoing cancer treatments for stage 4 colorectal cancer at Verita Life here in Bangkok in Thailand. If you want to send her a note, you're very, very welcome to. A couple of people have, and she was amazed and very, very overjoyed and happy to receive actually some flowers from a couple of subscribers to the channel. Stoked. Thank you so much, guys. Now, we also done nearly 3,000 videos, primarily about electric cars, battery companies, and about the future of the automotive industry, because it's very important. I don't want you to lose your money investing it into companies that don't have a future. Now, yes, it feels bad sometimes when you buy stocks and the stock price goes down, within, say, a period of 12 months. That happens. We're talking the future here, though. We're talking about the next 10, 15, 20 years. If you look at, say, automotive brands like Jaguar Land Rover, have a look at how they've gone historically. You can easily see what was going to happen. And I predicted what would happen here, I think about a year and a half ago. It was very obvious that this company was in decline and it was in a very sad state. And the main reason for that was that they weren't taking electric cars seriously, like I said. A small brand like Jaguar Land Rover really could have probably pivoted quicker than bigger brands. When you're smaller, it's easier to do that. But they didn't, unfortunately. They didn't take advantage of the fact that they won World Car of the Year, World Electric Car of the Year, and that car, it's almost dead now because it hasn't been changed at all. I'll put a link in the description below to my video about that, what happened and why. It's very, very sad. So now Jaguar Land Rover have appointed the company's former head of UK operations, Rawdon Glover, to oversee the revamped Jaguar brand. Glover's title will be Brand Managing Director, Jaguar, Jaguar Land Rover said in a statement. His promotion comes as Jaguar prepares to become an all-electric brand in 2025 and position itself high in the market with a new range of electric luxury models. Jaguar Land Rover will give more information on the company's progress on its plans for the brand in April, it is said. Now, I should point out that Jaguar and Land Rover are both owned by Tata Motors in India. Now, Tata Motors, they have a lot of money, but they don't have a blank checkbook. They can't just keep on spending money. This is a company that's losing a lot of money right now. If you want to know how much, I'll get to that in just a second. Glover's former job as managing director of Jaguar Land Rover's UK operations will be managed on an interim basis. Sort of like your head coach gets fired of your team, your NFL, your NBA team, whatever your team is. They fire them and they're like, oh, who's going to do his job? I'll just get that dude. We'll get him to do it until we find someone to do the job. He'll do for the interim. That's what it sounds like. The Jaguar brand has seen its vehicle sales decline significantly as Jaguar Land Rover directed scarce semiconductors toward its highly profitable Land Rover models, including the Range Rover Sport, and Defender. And they're still saying the reason that they don't sell Jaguars is because, there's no semiconductors. We've got to put them in our big SUVs at Land Rover. No one's buying that anymore. If that were true, then sales would be great in the last few months because semiconductors, they're really available. They are. There is enough for Jaguar to make a few cars and sell them, but they're not selling. So clearly, that is not the truth behind why Jaguar's sales have gone down the toilet. Now, worldwide, in the fourth quarter, as in the last 3 months of last year, Jaguar sold 1,100 electric cars worldwide. 1,100. That's the World Electric Car of the Year. And actually, it does matter for their parent company because Jaguar Land Rover's performance is key to India's Tata Motors as it contributes nearly 60% to the group's revenue from operations. In other words, if Jaguar Land Rover go down, so does Tata. And Tata are really the only electric car company that are known in India that are actually planning on mass producing electric cars in India. So we do need them to stick around. And one problem with that actually happening, making it pretty unlikely, is the fact that new emissions regulations are about to come out in the UK, in China. In fact, in China within the next 3 months, which will completely destroy much of the automotive industry there for legacy automakers, and also across many parts, in fact, the European Union, which will be very, very damaging, particularly for the Land Rover part of the Jaguar Land Rover JV. This is going to be really hard because they don't make plug-in hybrids, really. They don't make EVs at all. What that'll mean is they'll have to pay fines or they'll have to actually pay other automakers like Tesla for their EV tax credits, which costs a lot of money. That's how Tesla makes. In fact, that's how Tesla was estimated to have made more than $2 billion last year. Now, Jaguar Land Rover actually set a goal of being net debt-free by 2024. And the reason being that they need to invest a huge amount of money into building new factories, building new production lines to actually make EVs, which they don't have any dedicated EV production lines right now. So Jaguar is said to be at risk of missing its debt reduction goal to become net debt free by March 2024 due to the global semiconductor shortage, as per Tata Motors CFO. He said, "We have lost at least 6 months because of the semiconductor issue, and that achieving the net debt target will be a stretch. Jaguar Land Rover will reconfirm if the target can be reached after looking at its production and sales volumes during the quarterly earnings report," the CFO said. JLR will focus on cash flows and eliminating gross debt rather than refinancing. Its net debt stood at 4.5 billion euros or $5.5 billion as of 30th of September 2022, with 17 billion euros or $21 billion due in 2023. JLR has 6.4 billion in liquidity, of which 4.5 billion is in cash and 1.5 billion is in the form of an undrawn revolver facility. Now, to give you an idea of where things are actually headed, Jaguar Land Rover sold 614,000 cars in 2018. Fast forward to 2021, and they sold 439,000, a pretty significant reduction. Last year, those numbers were even lower, at just over 500,000, but this is actually much worse than it sounds, because when you consider their actual EV sales right now, well, they're minuscule. In 2022, EV sales for the entire group amounted to only 7,300, a decrease of 27% versus the year before. Now, whilst Jaguar does plan an electric onslaught in the next few years, it wants to be EV only. The question remains, how exactly do they plan on going about that? What will they sell? Where will it be made? What models will they have? No one really seems to know the full answers to those questions. Now, The Guardian actually have an article that came out a few days ago called How Jaguar Land Rover Fell Behind in the Race to an Electric Future, and what it means for the UK. Well, this is basically the last standing UK brands. Jaguar and Land Rover, they're loved by people in the UK. My dad's from the UK. He loves Jaguar. He loves Land Rover. My friends, I'm sorry to say, I don't see a future. But that could be me. That could be just me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and thank you for watching.